Okay, I think we've got it down. Welcome to the Sacred Raven Soul Work. My name is Jamie Jacobson. And this is part of my ongoing series, Journey with Jamie, in which I've called Clarity Through Quarantine. This is number 16. Okay. And I've titled the video, We Are on the Brink. I'm doing this challenge series in association with the beautiful Abiola Abrams Lightworkers video challenge series with the Spiritpreneurs Warrior Sisterhood Business School. I am a life purpose and lifestyle business strategist for creatives and a soul work intuitive. My areas of expertise are emotional intelligence and wellness, spiritual empowerment, mental toughness, toxic relationships, mindfulness, spiritual awakening process, and the dark night of the soul, the shadow work, our inner child. These are very deep topics. But they tend to center and focus on the individual. For the next couple of weeks, for the rest of this series, I'm going to refer to ourselves as a collective on the world scene. It is something that is of great interest of mine and always has been. I am a deep seeker, always have been. I'm not afraid to look where others won't. I will look in the hard places. I will look in the taboo places. I don't necessarily let fear take over me, and especially now. I believe that this quarantine has done wonders for many of us. I think many of us have found clarity, right? We're in the year 2020. This is the year of clarity. This is the year of truth, baby. This time to open your eyes. There's going to be a great divide. And this is what this video is about. We're on the brink. I see it. There are those who are awake, who've been out there speaking, sharing things. And then there are those who are waking up right now. As we speak, they're waking up all at once to the world, to themselves. It's been a roller coaster ride, and it's still not finished. It's still continuing. It's coming in rapidly. You know, we have this full moon this week. And more than ever, I've paid attention to how connected we all are and how the cycles of the planet and the energies of the planet and the universe and ourselves are all interconnected, you know, from the very small on outward, you know, as above, so below, as within, so without is a very, very true statement. I know it's a controversial phrase because it tends to be associated with the occult, and that is looked at as a very scary thing because it's the world of the hidden. It's, looked down upon because we get people who abuse knowledge and abuse wisdom and create things. They take the beauty of creativity and pervert it. And they develop things that harm humanity instead of free humanity. By the way, I know precisely what it is that makes a person feel free and whole and healed. That stuff will be coming up later. Because I believe I have definitely found that key. But as for this, we are on the brink. There's going to be a great divide. It is very easy to fool people or manipulate people. We talk about this in narcissistic relationships, and the dynamics of those things. Narcissists tend to gravitate towards power and certain power centers, certain establishments. One of them being government. Now, what does that word mean? Government, right? Ment is mental. Govern, right? Is to have control over, is to have power over. Is to have control over the mind, right? Power over the mind. I love looking at the definition of words. Like pharmacy. It's pharmakeia, right? Greek word, pharmakeia. It means sorcery. Yes, it does. And to think that there were the Salem witch trials, which people had to walk around in shame wearing scarlet letters, or worse, be killed because they were accused of being witches and warlocks, when many of them were doctors or simply good people who knew how to take advantage of this beautiful earth, grow things that were good for us, natural medicines in the herbs and the spices in the foods that we eat. But there were entities in power that did not like this. You see, they do not like people to be empowered. Just like the narcissist does not like you to be empowered, does not like you to know who they are either, know their tactics. Their tactics are always the same. It has to be, because they want that power. And they're not necessarily emotionally intelligent, are they? They slip up a lot because their patience is thin. They're very discontented. People are very easy to be fooled, and it's even harder to let them know that they have been because of their pride factor. And then on top of that, the fear factor. Not wanting to realize or admit or see that what they thought was one way, what they thought was the reality is actually another. And it's not a pretty picture either. And it also means that you have to take some kind of responsibility now. Now what are you going to do? You're just going to ignore it? You're going to be like the guy in the Matrix who stabbed his friends in the back and decided that he wanted nothing to do with Morpheus and Trinity, and he wanted to go back. He wanted to go back to his old fake life. He rather lived the lie than lived the truth. And unfortunately, there's many people like that. It's hard to understand. It may be hard for you to understand, but it's true. Many people are easy to be led around. People aren't necessarily naturally the kind who will step up in leadership. And people in power know this. They are the kind that have round table discussions, think tanks. They have the best of the best scientists, the best of the best behavioralists, sociologists, so forth, so on. They know what we read. They know what our interests are. They know how we react in everyday situations. Shows like, What Would You Do? Kind of shows a lot about what people would do in certain situations. You get a 20 to 30% of the time scenario where somebody actually steps up and says something. People usually will follow along and won't stray until they see somebody who's willing to step out of the bounds and lead themselves. And then it occurs to them, oh, well, maybe I don't have to do it this way. Or maybe I don't have to follow along. These are times when you really need to start educating yourself about the world you really live in, how it works. It doesn't work the way they tell you. They give you an elementary school version of it, and a lot has been omitted. I was thinking about the Alexandrian library, and I had always had this wish that I could go in it in the way Cleopatra used to. And then, I thought about how she cried when it was burnt down. But the Romans, they didn't let that stuff go. They took that information and all the books with them. I'm not going to burn all the knowledge. In the Iraq War, they ransacked the libraries, museums, and they were taking artifacts and books, things on the ancient Sumerians. Why? I know why, but do you? There are groups of people that believe in something that most people don't even think about. And they believe in it because they understand how this universe works. They're trying to learn more with the CERN machine. The CERN machine can contain strangelets, these little mini black holes. That's what they're doing right now. They have the goddess Shiva that was given to them. It sits right outside the facility. They did a little song and dance with the scientists and the aides all singing along in a little video. And one of the scientists was wearing a shirt that said Mandela Effect. What do you suppose that means? Are they just poking fun at something, or was that something very real? They have performances all the time, on stages of award shows and Olympic Games and whatnot. And another performance art show when they built the underground tunnel station right there in Geneva, right by the CERN facility. It was a celebration for all the leaders in the world who attended. It was a very esoteric show that was put on. You see, they do these things because in magic there are certain rules. Like in predictive programming. In Hollywood, this is done a lot because in magic, you have to tell the person or reveal to the people that you have put a spell. The only joke is you're supposed to somehow figure it out. And then there's also other things. In order to make things happen, there's symbols and ideologies and subliminals that are put in things. Get you hungry, make you want to eat popcorn at the movie theater, right? But it's also to get a group of people prepared for something that is coming. To get them prepared for a belief system, a way of being. Get them to understand a particular philosophy. And it's getting more and more sophisticated as time goes on. Now, just imagine, Bill Gates, who's hired Marina Abramovich, right? If you don't know who that is, please look her up. Very controversial character. She's an artiste. Lady Gaga begged her to mentor her. One of the things that was done was she was left in the middle of the forest, nude, and had to find her way back. It was a journey she was supposed to take. I'm not sure what it revealed or what it was supposed to have done. But this is a woman who practices a particular philosophy of life that is quite different. And so it is very interesting that she was asked to design the virtual reality that is coming up. You see, once you become a transhuman, you're no longer fully human. You block your natural ability to connect to source. It gets intercepted. The world is quickly moving on to a 5G. It's being rolled out very quickly. There are many dangers associated with this, but there are a lot of billions at stake. The first full-on city with 5G was Wuhan. Congrats, Wuhan. There are books. I think it was Rudolf Steiner who commented on the technologies of the time. And every time there was a new technology, it seemed it opened the people up to something because it attacked their cells. At the cellular level, it attacked them, left them open to things like viruses. And there seemed to be epidemics that occurred within 6 months. For instance, when radio waves first were installed. And then again in around World War II. It's a very interesting information to look up should you take the time to do so. I've always been somewhat of a spiritual investigator, digging deep into things. And I love symbolism and language, and I've been digging and studying into that for 25 years. And for a lot of things, there's double meanings. The elites, particular elites, people you don't see. These people, invert things, right? There will be two meanings for one symbol. It's a lot like in tarot. You'll have the symbolism, and it means one way when it's right side up, and it means something else when it's reversed. Very similar. But ladies and gentlemen, while many of us who are waking up, we're waking up to ourselves, we're waking up to the world, our lives, what's important, what we ultimately believe brings us meaning. Finding our center, creating immense creativity coming from a beautiful source. While all that is happening, there are many who are in fear, and the fear is rising. You see, when fear is out of control this way, it is very easy to control the people because they're not thinking straight. They're not clear. The clarity isn't there. And out of fear, they listen to anyone who seems to have the answers. But what they don't realize is there's people who have what's called the problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. It's like the narcissist. You create an issue and pretend to be a savior with the problem solved, with advice, with guidance, with the way out. But the whole time it was plotted and planned. It was a guise, a ruse. Believe me, all of the world is a stage. It's not what it seems. It's like Madonna's song, right? Hollywood. Listen to that song. Nothing is as it seems. It's a mirage. It's a stage. It's a put on. And now for the first time in history, while we are able to access information, right, and dig and get to the heart of the truth, and it's very hard to difficult to cover anything up unless you are a part of these tech giants who can eliminate information like that. If a book is in digital form, it's very easy to change a page or two, or change a paragraph or sentence or so. Even alter it and make it say something differently, right? There's technology that can mimic your voice, make you say things you never said. There's technology that looks like it could be you in a video doing something you never did. So how will you know what the truth is, right? This is very important right now. It's very important that you learn to develop your intuitive gifts, because the truth is what resonates in your soul. You know it, you feel it with every fiber of your being. But see, when you're in fear mode, you're not thinking of that. You're in the 3D. You're thinking about saving your life. And these kinds of people who are panicked, who are scared, walking around with masks on their face. Why do you suppose there's all this distancing? Don't you think it's much better to be closer, because it helps us to strengthen our immune system and fight things off, right? Like a newborn baby, when it comes into this world, it has yet to develop its immunities, but it has to be exposed to things. It's the same thing. But what's more, this distancing and these masks, it dehumanizes us. It puts us in a place where we are afraid of one another. We're suspicious of one another. We don't want to speak to one another. It causes situations where People with power trips in stores, security guards, bus drivers, even just average everyday people begin to have these massive ego trips that get out of control, trying to get you in line. It's all set up to be like a prison. Pretty soon, it'll be lights out at a certain time. They'll only give you so much water to use, and they'll say it's for green reasons. Power as well. Single family homes are no longer being built or no longer being a priority in Washington State, they have reported. You know, they prefer to stick you all in these little micro studio boxes where you share one kitchen. There is a billionaire, I forget who he was, but he said that we have it made. Here he is with billions and billions. His whole bathroom is probably the size of 2 houses, and he's saying that we have more than what we deserve. This is how they think, people. And there are many people who listen to every word they report, who listen to everything the television tells them, and they fear everything. And fearful people are to be feared. Immature people, emotionally and spiritually immature people, or emotionally bankrupt people are to be feared because they are capable of dark things in order to keep themselves safe. Get your mind, your body, and your family and your affairs right. Get your life in order. Start making yourself independent, sovereign. Start learning how to do things for yourself. Do you always want to be dependent on something else? Every time the store is out of something and you can't get it, has this not taught you never to be dependent on anything else? To maybe start your own business, be in charge of your finances, to start growing your own food, protecting yourself. We're learning this in our own personal lives as while we are also learning this on the world scene. Okay, because the exact same themes are happening in my personal life, or were, for the past 3 years. And now here we are in another scenario while the world is going through it. And I've already just gone through those very themes, these themes of security, sovereignty, codependency, independence. It's very important to have your sovereignty, your freedom, and your independence as a human being, and as a state, a community, a country, as a culture. But I'm telling you, we are on the brink where if we don't speak up, if we don't step out and be leaders in some form or fashion, utilizing the spiritual gifts that were given to you, stepping up, being strong, mental strength, develop it. Develop your emotional wellness and intelligence. Develop your spiritual empowerment. And if you feel that you cannot and you need somebody to help you with that, you may come to me. You can reach me. You can reach me by my email. You can reach me by my Facebook page. Facebook.com/spiritual business coach. Facebook.com/sacred ambitions. Spiritual business @thesacredraven.coach. Find me at any one of those. And I will help you. Some of you may be going through an incredible awakening. Most likely it's working on the shadow. It's the dark night of the soul. And it's scary. It's hard. It's very hard. It's probably one of the most difficult things you may ever find yourself going through, but it's also one of the most eye-opening, despite pains, despite a lot of inner suffering. But you get through it. You go through it. You purge a lot. A lot comes to light about your childhood, you know. And then once you get through your dark night, and a lot of that stuff is shed, and a lot of that stuff gets healed, you enter the next section of your awakening, of your enlightenment, or however you want to see it, whatever you want to call it, and becoming more conscious, becoming more emotionally and spiritually aware and mature. It opens up into a spiritual awakening process that's coming from a place of more peace, more emotional contentment and freedom, more spiritual healing. Your mental place goes from this overwhelm and overthink to a place of being mindful, being in the moment. Seeing very clearly where you may not have before. You know, utilizing parts of you and accessing parts of your heart and your mind that you never bothered to use before. You know, the heart has quite the intelligence as well as the gut. Matches the brain, can rival the brain very easily. One of these days I got to put together something, a presentation to show you just how much it does rival the mind. Because I think as humans, we tend to worship the mind over the heart, over the spirit, the fire of the spirit. That's another thing, the awakening. It brings a sense of passion back, an aliveness, a sense of meaning, real deep meaning and true purpose. You know, it's when what you say, what you think, and what you do all come together and you're aligned. There's no inner war. There's no inner battle. And right now, many of us are going through an inner battle. And what reflects on the inside, what's on the inside reflects on the outside. There's an outer battle. And a lot of this is being deliberately steered to cause dissension, to cause rivalry, to cause jealousy, envy, anger, confusion. Take your power back in the situation. Take your power back, and you do that by educating yourself, enlightening yourself, keeping a journal. I'm a firm believer in it. I do it every day. In fact, you should join me in my Journal with Jamie series. I like to do it on the new and full moons. Journal with Jamie, Under the Metaphysical Moon is what it's called. Facebook event. You can find it on my Sacred Ambitions page on Facebook. And together we can not only have important discussions, but we can lay out the things that we want to purge from our lives and then replace them with the things we want to add. And find that peace, find that contentment, find that quality that's missing, find that passion that's missing, that sense of real purpose that you get up out of the bed excited every morning and really clued in and tuned in, connected. It's that sense of connectedness that's missing that we need to get back. Anyway, before I go on too long, because I could go on forever, the world is on a brink. We're being separated, okay? There are those who's going to put their head in the sand and they're going to follow everything that culture is telling them to do, everything the world is telling them to do. And then there's the others who are awakening, who are in this world but not of it, who come from a higher place, a higher source. I am that I am. I choose to be who I choose to be. I shall prove to be. I am the one who causes to become. What does that say? You are what you say you are. You are what you eat. You are what you do. You are what you invest in, what you put into your mind. Don't forget to ask and you shall receive. And trust. Trust with your whole heart, your whole soul, your whole mind. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in the higher power to lead you. It's there. If you want to tap into it, you can connect to the pure spirit that's all around us, that Holy Spirit. It's there for you to tap into. Be aware. Be the observer. Step back for a moment and observe and take a look at the objective truth of the matter. Don't get so personal. There's our personal truth, but then there's the objective truth. What is it? Because let me tell you, there is a world of mass manipulation going on. Mass zipping of the mouth to shut people's ears and minds down, to shut the ability of searching for information, important information that will elevate you, that will set your soul on fire. Step up and lead. Become a transformational leader. Transform yourself and help to transform this world and lead it to a better place. Help save what is beautiful on this planet. There's so much to save. There's so much beauty. And it should always be done in love. Because you love it. Because you want to spread love. Love and truth go hand in hand. And even if it's not always pretty, it's still being done in love. Sometimes love is tough. Sometimes you got to give out tough love. To wake people up. To wake yourself up. You got to shake things up a little bit, right? Shake it up. Boss up. Right? And with that, I'm going to close, and I want to thank you so much for spending your time here with me and listening to what I have to say. There is so much more where that came from, let me tell you, and I'm ready to spill it. I have to. I have to. I love you all. I really do. And I believe that we can really make something beautiful occur. We can. But it all depends on how ready you are. Are you ready? You think you got the balls? Eh? Huh? You got the cojones? Because you're going to need them. You're going to need it. You know, got to be strong, got to be bold. It's time, babies. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do it. Let's get out there and kick some ass. Okay? Okay. We got some stuff to do. So let's get on it. And I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this, if you think there's anything important or valuable in this, please share it. Subscribe if you want to come back and receive some more. Also, if you feel that you would like to spend time one-on-one, if there are things that you need to vent and get off your chest, maybe you feel outcasted or like an outsider in your family, in your friend group, I'm available, okay? I do have a one-on-one sessions specifically for that. Those who are suffering in silence, who can't share what's on their minds, painting them. And that could be from the toxic relationships you're in to the things you're finding out about the world and your inability to share it with someone. And let me tell you, to hold that stuff in your chest is not good. It causes the body to go out of balance. It causes the mind to get sick. It goes from the spiritual realm to the physical realm. And it causes diseases. It causes heart attacks, strokes, because of the stress of it. We can't hold things in. We must release it. It's very important that you do so. It makes it so you can't even sleep. You're such a nervous wreck. If you need one-on-one help, like I said, I'm in the areas of emotional intelligence and wellness, which is soul work, the shadow work, the inner child, life purpose, okay? Narcissistic abuse and other toxic forms of relationships, manipulation, emotional manipulation, spiritual empowerment, mental toughness, okay? The dark night of the soul, of course, and spiritual awakening. These are my fortes. You know, mindfulness, transformation. So as a soul work intuitive, if that is something that is of interest to you, you may get a hold of me, all right? You can find that information in the description box. You can also find me on Instagram at The Sacred Raven. And you can find me on Facebook at Spiritual Business Coach, as well as at Sacred Ambitions. Thank you for being here. And if you have a prayer request, let me know. I will take that to my network of people, and I do have a good chunk of size of people, a good little network. I can take your prayer request to. The more, the merrier. The stronger that energy is for that prayer. So let me know in the comment section, and let me know what you think about the world at this moment, the state of things, and what you're doing at this moment in time, and what this quarantine has taught you and how it's changed your life. Let's get this conversation started, shall we? Have a beautiful night, and I will see you soon.